channel. So today I am here with the lovely Leslie. We work together and I'm so excited to be here with her today. You can go ahead and check out her Instagram, but she is just a ball of light, and I can tell that she is always just in such like a positive mood that I thought I would interview her for my channel. So if you want to see our interview, just keep watching. First question. So Leslie, what would you say is your biggest advice to someone who tries to keep a positive mindset or like a happy aura about them most of the time? Like, what are tools or tips you have?
I think one thing that I constantly love to do that has just completely changed my outlook on life is finding things to be grateful for. And I'm saying everything. Like when I am driving, I'll be like, I am grateful for this car. I am grateful for this beautiful weather. I'm grateful that I live in this house. I'm grateful for the food I have. And I feel like when you're constantly grateful for things, you are constantly then reminding yourself how grateful you are for basically everything.
Yeah.
And like now I've just gotten a habit where I'll see something beautiful, like flowers, and I'm like, I'm so grateful for these flowers. Like they're beautiful. Or I'll see something, someone's wearing like a really cute outfit. I'm like, I'm so grateful that like they're wearing such beautiful colors. Like it's kind of crazy, but when you're constantly grateful for the things that you have, I think it really just changes your mindset. And I think it brings in a lot of happiness. It definitely brings a lot of happiness for me. In the morning, I like to write down everything that I'm grateful for. And I like to change it up every day. And like I said, it can be really random. It can be, I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for like nice smelling soap, like just whatever. And when you're constantly grabbing those things that you're grateful for, I feel like you find more things to be grateful for.
It's like that exercise when people are like, how many green things are in the room, and you can like count them, but then like when they're like, how many red things, you're like, I don't know, because I counted all the green things. So all the negative is like gone, and now you're focusing on the positive.
Right, so you don't focus on, I just like whatever problem there might be. You just focus on the good things in life. And when you focus on the good things, I think you're just happier and you have a better like positivity about life, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's great. So for during this time, especially, you said gratitude, obviously, but what are some other tools and tips that you've been using to be kind to yourself and to kind of like get through tougher times or like that harder mindset that's kind of like battling with you when things get hard?
So there have definitely been some hard days. It's 2020. We're all struggling.
Yes.
But I think you have to remind yourself to be kind to yourself. There are days we all probably wake up and we are hard on ourselves. And I think you constantly have to be kind to yourself and also treat yourself to the things that you love. And for me, I love being creative. So I feel really connected to myself. Yeah, you should see her
nails right now. They're so cute.
Thank you. But I always feel really connected with myself when I'm doing something creative and crafty. So that's just even just going to the craft store or going to the Dollar Tree and finding
Dollar Tree?
Yes, everything is so cheap. And
I just made chocolate chip muffins this morning from Dollar Tree.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They're so good.
Yeah, I want that recipe. But just doing like stuff, I'll like get all sorts of fun things. I'll find tutorials on Pinterest and coming home and just like crafting all day. Like I think when people create things or when people make something, you feel really good about it. Like, you know, when you cook like a really awesome dinner, you're like, I did this, like I'm awesome. Yeah. You know, or if you make something and you're like, if you embroider or sew something or paint your nails, like something like that, it's just like, oh my God, I did this. And you feel really proud of yourself. So like for me, when I craft and create a lot of things, I really feel happy and I feel connected with myself because then I know I'm a creative person and I just feel more like me, if that makes sense, which makes me happy.
Yeah, well, and she makes a lot of masks too. That's like something she's been like big into, so I'll put that link down below too. But I know that like when you finish little things that like you feel that like accomplishment and like success, and like even like you're saying with all your crafting, which if you're like each mask is like an accomplishment. So I'm sure like each time you do it, it's like a helpful kind of thing.
Yeah, and the masks have been really great because, you know, I believe that everyone can be fashionable and feel good even while making a mask. So trying to make the best out of something that kind of isn't the best, like masks, they're not the best, but if you can wear something that's cute and fun, like it's a good conversation starter, like it's really great. So yes, when I
feel cute.
Yeah, you feel cute. Which is, we like to feel cute. Who doesn't like to feel cute? So yeah, when I make one, it's really great, and it's a way that I can like love on people. I'm like, here, I made you this mask. Like I thought about you, I made this mask, and you know, everyone, it's so fulfilling to me because it's a way that I can love on people.
Yeah.
And then when I see them post a picture wearing the mask, I'm like, I did that for them. So it's just like a little accomplishment. I'm like, they liked it and they wore it and I'm really happy. So I don't know. I've really had fun like creating masks and just giving them to people. So
it's like a way of almost like a, not volunteering, but kind of that same feeling of like volunteering, like giving out your services, but like also getting like reward from it.
Right. Because, you know, I'm still furloughed, so I have so much time. So sometimes it's like, what do I do with all this time? So it's been nice to do that because it keeps me busy. So
yes, and then we're gonna talk about the Enneagram because we were just talking about it. So Leslie's a 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 2 wing. Are you a wing or just a 2?
I'm a 2 wing 3.
I'm a 2 wing 3.
Ah!
So
glad we get along.
So I got some 2s up here. So we were talking about a little bit before we started our video that you know, 2s are the helpers. We like to help people. We like to have people around us, and like one of the biggest things right now is trying to figure out how to reach out and how to speak to your friends that are different numbers. Like, repeat again what you were saying about what 2s need when we're feeling down.
So a lot of 2s, I feel like we're not the best at taking care of ourselves, so we'll always take care of everyone else, but a lot of times we'll forget to take care of ourselves. So, you know, one thing that I like to say to my 2 friends is like, how's your heart doing? Have you taken time to take care of yourself today? Have you eaten? Like, it's just because a lot of times we'll worry about everyone else, but then we won't focus on ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the Enneagram, is because you can learn so much about your friends and your family, and you can figure out the best ways to love on them, to communicate with them, and just have a better relationship, which I think is so important.
Yeah, well, and it's also a good understanding of like how you yourself react to the other numbers also. So I'll link that down below to the Enneagram quiz, so you can like comment and let me know what number you are, because I love finding out and all the Enneagrams. But I agree. I feel like you know, they have the Myers-Briggs test, and then they have, what's the other one?
Do you know your Myers-Briggs?
INFJ.
INFJ. I'm an ENFP.
Okay. Okay. So, but I feel like on some parts that was a little broad.
Yes.
Like, it was like, are you an extrovert or are you an introvert? Are you this or that? And like, I remember like it saying I'm an introvert, and I was like, am I an introvert? Because I'm kind of a people person, but I also like need my downtime. So I was like, maybe I am. But I feel like with the Enneagram, like it's much more specific, and like obviously people will agree with it, people will disagree with it, kind of whatever your opinion is. But like the more I read it, and Leslie was saying this too, but like it like blows your mind. You're like, wait, this is me.
Yes. Like, you'll read something and I'm like, I feel attacked. Like, this is directed to me. And I think it makes so much sense because like with my mom, for the longest time we were butting heads, and I just realized that she took the test. She was an Enneagram 5, so they're more logical. I'm a 2, so I'm more emotional. So sometimes we just like butt heads because we're different. And for the longest time I thought that she was just like, you know, just being mean. But now I've realized she's not being mean, she's just very logical. So sometimes she's
coming from a different part of the brain.
Right, exactly. So it's helped me and my mom, like with our relationship, like it's helped so many friends. Like, I can't talk about the Enneagram enough. I will talk everyone's ear off about it, and I'm so glad that you love it too.
Yes, my biggest thing that I've taken away from the Enneagram is like a lot of times for 2s it says we have a hard time saying no.
Yes.
And so like I have set a lot of boundaries recently, and it has like completely changed my life.
Yes.
And like one boundary that I set that I wasn't really actually I don't know, I didn't have much faith in it, which sounds kind of bad, but I used to like stay up really late to stay with my friends, and like a lot of my ex-boyfriends were insomniacs, and they'd stay up till like 4, and I would try to stay up with them. And I like started like at 11:30, like I'm going to bed at 11, I'm going in my room, 11:30 I will be asleep, and if not, like I will read until I fall asleep. And like I feel like a completely different person. Like I feel so much more rested. I'm not as edgy, like I'm not as cranky, like I feel like I've been able to like process everything that's happening so much easier. And like, I mean, people always talk about sleep, and like I think I like always knew sleep was important, but like when I set that boundary for myself, I was like, wow. And then I got addicted. I'm like, what other boundaries can I set? Like, what else can I do? Like,
yes, boundaries are so important. I totally feel that. Actually, with my ex, I would do that. I would stay up super, super late with him, and then I would like have no sleep, and I was exhausted all the time.
And I think it's a female versus male thing too. Like, let me know what you guys think, because I feel like, I don't want to like stereotype anyone, but I feel like the male brain doesn't need as much sleep as the female, and I've read actual studies that says like most women need like 7 to 10 hours of sleep, and men only need like, I think it's like 5 to 8 or something. It's like not a lot, and so like we try, obviously because we love our partner, like to stay up and like be there for them, and we're just like, I feel like I'm gonna die.
The next morning you wake up and you're just like, I'm so tired right now, and then like your partner's fine, and you're like, this isn't fair.
And then you're like, and you're like irritable, and like work isn't as good, and like you're just like, okay.
And then you're kind of mad at them because you're like, why didn't you go to sleep earlier? Now I'm tired, and then it's just
but it's actually you. It's like it's actually
you. Because like you have to set that boundary. And that's why boundaries are so important. And I've actually, for future relationships, I've already had so many boundaries that I want, because I didn't have any boundaries with my last relationship, and that was just a mess. So for the future, I want to have boundaries, like the sleep one.
Well, and it's funny because I feel like naturally we have boundaries with friends, like, and we don't stress about them or anything. But when it comes to relationships, we always like shove them to the side. And I think it's not funny, but like it's so ironic because that's where it should be held more accountable is in the relationship than it should be in the. It still should be in the friendship, but like you know what I'm saying. Like you're supposed to see that person every day, and that's like supposed to be your rock and the person you depend on. And if you're not holding them to that standard, does that mean like you don't respect yourself? Like why are you letting this person like not follow your boundary? Are you scared? I know for me, like one of my biggest things was after my emotional abusive relationship in college, like I was afraid to tell them because I was afraid they would just leave. And like one of my best friends, who's an 8, who's very logical, she was just like, well then let them leave. And I was like, oh, how could you say that? Like, I can't let them leave. Like,
oh my gosh.
And I was like, and you know, she'd be like, I think you're afraid to be alone. And the funny thing is like, I'm not afraid to be alone, but I was afraid of that confrontation. And like, that was like where, even like going back into the Enneagram of like, you know, it says like 2s don't like confrontation, don't want to hurt other people's feelings. And I think like I was so afraid I was going to hurt this person's feelings by asking for this, and I would just like be quiet. And I'm like, no, like I need to ask for these things, because if they can't do it, then like they're not the one, and I need to move forward.
Literally everything you're saying was me in my last relationship. It was a mess. I think also to me, I was like, I can't lose him. Like I've poured out so much love and time and energy. Like if he leaves, it was all for nothing, you know? But I would do that. I would like, instead of me being like, this is how I feel about this thing, or this is how I feel about this or this, like I didn't say anything. Because I think in my head, I was like, I have to be the perfect girlfriend. Like, I have to do
Or
everything.
I'm just being emotional. That was like something I would always tell myself. I was like, oh, I'm a theater person. Like, we're emotional.
Like, I don't want to be like the drama girlfriend. So I would just be like, I'm gonna not worry about anything. Like, I'm just gonna push everything aside and just be perfect and not say anything and just try to do everything to make him happy, which in the long run, like after months and months and months, I was miserable, and I just
exhausted.
I was so tired. I felt like I was exhausted all the time, and I wasn't taking care of myself. I just was like, who's Leslie? We're just gonna not worry about her at all. We're just only gonna worry about him. And so, but because of all of that mess, and because of the Enneagram, I've been able to know what's best for me and for the future, and the boundaries for future relationships and friendship, or you know, a partner. So
what are some of the things that you've definitely like noticed and have made official, like this is what I have to do now, like from that relationship and the Enneagram? Like what are the things that you're like, okay, this is what I do now and this makes me happy, besides like you were talking about crafting, but like other things in your life that you're like, I'm gonna slowly work on these things?
I really worked on kind of just like my mental health and whatever I can do that's best for me, and just loving my body more. So like I've loved meditation for my brain. I've been really trying to eat gluten and dairy free. So I feel, because it helps my body feel better, I like wake up with more energy. But I will say, if anyone puts our charcuterie board in front of me, it's all bets are off. But I've been really trying to just be the best version of myself, because I do think that's so important with like, you know, with your mental health, like taking that time to just like empty your brain and just like focus on nothing and meditate, and then also eat healthy and try to get all your greens in and drink a lot of water, because you live in Florida and it's hot. So just trying to do you know, because I think it's important to take care of your body, also your brain. So that's one thing that I've also really been trying to work on, and I feel better too.
Do you use an app? Do you do YouTube? Like, what do you use for meditation?
For meditation, I use Headspace, which for
Okay.
a while
That's what I
it was
use.
free for unemployed. So I don't know if it still is right now, but actually it's fun. My whole family uses it. My dad's been doing it for like 2 years. My mom does it. I think my brother's been doing it a little bit, maybe not every day, but so we've all been trying to meditate, even just doing 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do.
Yes.
In the morning, is I was like, it's just, I don't know if I'm good at it, but I definitely turn on the app and I'll like sit there and just like kind of like stare in front of me, and like I can feel my mind wander sometimes, and I'm just like, okay, like we're not perfect at this, but we are trying.
Right.
And even just like the fact that I sat there and like tried, sometimes I'm even just like, oh, I did something for me today. Like, even if I didn't succeed in it, it was like, okay, well, we accomplished something. So, one thing down.
And it's definitely hard. Like, my brain is always like having a party up there. It's like, there's the creative side, and like over here, and like, oh, I'm hungry, and I'm always thinking about my next meal. So it's like, oh, what are you eating next? And so my brain is like all over the place. So sometimes meditation is super hard, especially in 2020 when you have so much anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
So your brain is just like, are you gonna get called back to work? And so you're just like, it's everywhere. So
well, I've learned to, tell me if you feel this way, but like when I'm trying to meditate, a lot of my like thoughts that are everywhere is stuff I'm processing.
Yes.
So instead of like beating myself up and being like, Kaitlyn, why aren't you like thinking of the empty space in your head and like meditating? I'm like, oh, this is something I definitely haven't processed yet.
Yes.
And that's why like it's running through my head, is because I haven't taken that time, where now that I've sat here and I've thought about it, I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'll think of it less, and like eventually it does go away.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, there's sometimes I feel like when I meditate, I will not think of anything for like 5 minutes, and then I'll have a little thought come, like I'll be like, oh my god, I didn't think of anything for 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh wait, now I'm thinking of something. So it's just like, it's hard, but it does have like less and less the issue or whatever you're trying to process. So it's definitely hard to like get started.
Yeah.
I remember for so long my dad was like, you need to meditate, and I was like, this is so hard because my brain just doesn't shut off.
Yeah.
So now practicing it more, it's been better.
Okay.
So it's obviously I still have those thoughts come in, but I think everyone should just do it to like take time to just empty your brain.
Yeah.
And
just like attempt it. Like just try it. See if it works for you, you know.
Right.
Headspace is a great app. I know there's a lot of stuff also on YouTube of like meditation stuff. So you can always try that if you don't want to like pay for the app and just like check it out. Okay, so obviously meditation has helped a lot, and obviously feeding ourselves is something that we need to get better at. This is for everyone, especially me, so this is a reminder to myself too, because sometimes I like to skip food because I have too much to do, and then I'm sad because I love food, so it's like a conflicting feeling. But like, what would be your baby step to recommend to people to like just like start working towards more like self-love, meditation, just like that type of stuff?
So one of my best friends, she actually told me this tip, is make a list and just do one thing a day, at least. So if you, or have it, and whenever you're like, I don't know what to do with myself, just be like, look at your list, because I love lists. I feel like once again, my brain is always like, ooh, let's do this, blah, 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 blah. So if you have a list, you can be like, what is the best for me? Also, you can maybe find a morning routine that you really love, and that's something that I've also done, because I feel like sometimes in the morning, it's hard because you wake up and you're like, I don't know what to do with myself. So one thing I've been doing is the night before, I tell myself what I'm going to do the next day. So whether that be, girl, you're going to go to the grocery store, you're going to go to craft tomorrow, you're going to make 5 masks, you're going to do whatever. So in the morning, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm doing today. So I already have a plan, because I feel like the mornings when I wake up and I would have no plans, I would just be like, I have no plans today. And now I'm kind of sad because I have nothing going on, and this is going to be the rest of my 2020. Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. I'm going to break down. So like, it's like a spiral. So for me, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to do this tomorrow. Like, I'll be like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to wake up. I'm going to write everything that I'm grateful for. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go downstairs and have a really awesome breakfast. And then I'm going to go run errands. And then at the end of the day, or even you come back, you feel so productive. It's like that thing where it's like, if you make your bed, you'll have like a productive,
better day.
Right.
Yeah, that's been like my whole thing, is like I make my bed, I use the bathroom, I feed my cat, then I meditate, and then from there like we'll go from there.
Right. But I feel like when you take those productive steps, like you do one, you're like, that was awesome. Then you do another one, you're like, yes. And so it's kind of like when you eat healthy. You know how you eat a salad and you're like, I'm so healthy. I feel so great. Let me eat another healthy thing. And then it just is like
building blocks.
Right. And then if you feel better, or for me, like if I eat healthy, I'm not as bloated. So like if I have gluten, I get really bloated. So like if I'm not bloated, I'm like, wow, I look great. Like I feel cute. So like that's also like really exciting. So it's just like those little like building blocks to kind of help, I guess, like get me, that helps me get motivated.
Yeah,
I know it's like,
a good thing.
It's not like going to be an overnight thing where you're just going to like completely change your life and meditate every day and eat healthy and
it's
like.
definitely, disclaimer, that's not how that works.
That's definitely, it's been months and months because I
Yeah.
feel like there were some months during this 2020 that I was really sad and I didn't know what to do with myself, but I hate feeling like that. So I've really tried to be like, okay, what makes Leslie feel really good? Like what keeps me going? Because I hate feeling sad. I love feeling good about myself. And like, even though this year is crazy and we have so much time, I'm like, how awesome is it that we have so much time? Like we can,
like what can I do with all
what
this
can I do
time?
with all this time? We're never gonna have this much time again. Let's be real. Like we're, after all of this is over, we're gonna have to go back to our jobs. Like you're gonna take care of like your family, like whatever. You probably will never have this much time again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what can I do to, you know, with all this time?
Yeah.
How am I going to use my time? And I always use my time as like, to me, my time is so important.
Yeah,
so,
I hate time wasted. That must be a 2 thing also.
Yes. Oh, yes. I just, because I'm like, I could have done this, I could have done this, I could have done this. So.
That's why I've actually moved my phone away from my bed. So I went to Target and I bought a $10 alarm clock. And I now have my alarm clock next to my bed. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't go to grab my phone because I realize that my alarm goes off on my phone. So when I grab my phone, well, now you see all the notifications.
Right.
And when you see all the notifications, well, then you got to answer all the notifications.
Yes.
And then you don't want to ignore anyone because you're a 2 and you can't have any of those little, like, you know, pop-ups on new things. So you got to get rid of all of those. And then it's like 3 hours I've been laying in bed scrolling, feeling like dirt about myself because someone got engaged or someone got a house or someone got a new job or went back to work or whatever. And I just sit there and I'm like, okay, well, what's the point of getting out of bed now?
Right.
And that's like
exactly
the hole that I was going down. So I like moved my phone and my watch into my bathroom and I bought this like alarm clock and I put Headspace on my iPad so that like even when I grab like to meditate, like there's no notifications like on my tablet.
Yes.
So I can just like enjoy.
I love that.
And I feel like my stress level has gone down so much. Like I've only had my alarm clock for probably like a week now, but like it's been such a life changer. Like,
that's like
and
such
it's such a simple thing.
Right.
It's so simple, but like I feel like we just get so overwhelmed and caught up in everyone else that it's like, well, what am I doing? Like, what does Kaitlyn need today?
Right. And I feel like with this day and age, we have so much social media. Like I remember in high school, I think I had just Facebook. So like you would just have Facebook notifications, but now it's like Instagram and Snapchat and like so many different. So you like when you start off your day like that, it's definitely like overwhelming. I've actually been trying to. I put my phone on the floor because I have like a really long charger. And what I've been trying to do is when I wake up in the morning, I like wake up and I'll open the windows because I think that, you know, getting that like sunlight.
Fresh air,
you're just like, oh, look at this. Like, and Florida has like such beautiful skies. So you're like, oh my gosh, like look how beautiful it is. Today's going to be a great day. And then I'll go to the bathroom and then I try to drink like a ton of water and then I'll look at my phone. But sometimes I do like look at my phone right away because I'm always like, do I have a friend that wants to talk to me? Like, what's happening?
Yeah,
like,
well, and since, like, obviously I started my YouTube channel, like, a lot of my notifications and stuff I go through Instagram. And I just, like, forward it onto Facebook. So I've turned off my notifications on Facebook. So that's, like, one less I have to deal with. But I know that, like, I'll get messages or people that, like, are, like, wanting to participate in stuff or whatever on my Instagram. And I don't want to, like, ignore them because it's, like, kind of like a business, like, the way that I want to handle it. But, like, I also am like, I just need a few minutes to myself. Like the drafting thing that's on Instagram has been like saving me because I can like go through the whole week and just like draft them all out on Sunday and then like this morning I posted a Q&A video with my friends and all I had to do was go in there, hit click share, go copy and paste onto Facebook and I was done. Like I didn't have to look at any notifications, I didn't have to look at anything, I just but I got it done and like people know about it now.
I love using the drafts and like planning out everything like before. And sometimes when I'm on Instagram, like I'll have a ton of DMs and I will just be like, okay, this next 15 minutes is just going to be me replying to all of them.
Yeah.
And so then it's not like I'm constantly just like stressed about like all these
trying to balance it all. Yeah.
Right, because I really try to throw my phone like halfway through the day, like when I'm like with friends or if I'm crafting, I'm like, I just want to separate myself from technology and like have a break. So then I'll be like, okay, this next 15 minutes, I'm just going to reply to everyone and do what I need to do and then push it aside and then maybe respond in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it makes sense.
Which I feel bad about like not responding right away, but I'm like, for my mental health, I love like just throwing my phone and being like, I'm not going to talk to anyone for a few hours.
I usually it's like me time for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember my question.
Yay!
So we were talking about manifesting.
Yes, I love manifesting.
Earlier. So what are some things that you've been doing to like manifest? Because like we were talking, to catch you up, we were talking about like manifesting like the perfect relationship and the job and the life and like how like since we've had a lot of time to think about what we want out of life.
Right.
So like what are some steps that you've been taking to like manifest what you're wanting in your life?
First of all, I love to like write everything out. I feel like there's so many different parts of manifesting. I have a lot of affirmations that I like to say like in the mirror. And it's one of those things you just like say it to yourself. You're like, I am love. Like I think one of mine is like, I accept all loving and positive relationships and people in my life, like things like that. And you just like say it to yourself. And when you tell yourself every day in the mirror that you love yourself and you're awesome, like you'll feel it. Like you feel good about yourself. You're like, I am awesome. I am super cool. Also things that I like to do, I think, like I said, there's so many different parts of it. I think for a future relationship, I've kind of made a list of everything that I want in a future partner. So I'll put, I want him to be really kind and patient and loving and just like all these things. And I put all of that. And you know, if I'm ever sad that I'm single, because I feel like we all get that way. So I'll look at that and I'm like, my future husband is going to be awesome. He's going to be kind and loving and patient and everything that I said and just like putting that out into the universe. And he will come one day when the timing is right. Also,
when we can go out.
Yes, when we can go out and explore the world again. Also, one that I love, Pinterest. I think Pinterest is really great for manifesting. I love Pinterest too. I love Pinterest. I'm like, thank you, Pinterest, for existing.
This isn't sponsored by Pinterest, but
no.
If it was, I'm not upset.
I wouldn't also be upset. But so I have all these dreams for like my future house. And so I literally make a thing of all, like if I find something really awesome where like this one house had like literally like almost stained colored glass in their house. And I was like, that is so cool. I want that one day. So I look at that and I'm like, this will be my future house. And like, this is what I'm going to have one day. So I have this whole Pinterest where I'm like, this will be my future house. And I'm manifesting that my future husband will be okay with having a pink couch because I really want a pink couch one day. So it's just like kind of like speaking into the universe, into what you want. And I know people that don't know anything about manifesting, it like kind of sounds crazy, but it always makes me feel so much better. I'm like,
so here's my counteractive question then.
Yes.
How do you not get down on yourself when you feel you don't have those things? Because I know for me personally, sometimes that's like the rabbit hole I'll go down. Is I'll like try to manifest up like the perfect partner or like the house I want or like the life I want, and then I look at it and I'm like, I don't have any of these things, or like I don't feel a step closer, and I start to like tank. So like what is your advice on maybe other people who feel that way with manifesting?
I think it's definitely easy to feel that way because I feel like sometimes if you make like a Pinterest board and you're like, this is what I'm gonna have, and you're like, how am I gonna get this? And it's really overwhelming to think that way. And like especially like, you know, I feel like I've had a lot of friends recently get engaged and I'm so happy for them, but I'm like, hello, like where you at? So, you know, it's hard sometimes to feel that way. So I feel like what I have to do with myself is I have to be like, Leslie, snap out of it. Your future husband, and I will literally like be in the car driving and I'm like, your future husband's gonna be awesome. And I like have to hype myself up.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So like I give myself a lot of pep talks. Like,
hey, you know what? That's great.
Right, you know, we've been getting a lot of news about our job and like what's going on and stuff. And so like yesterday I was kind of freaking out and I was like, Leslie, you're fine. The universe has you. You are safe. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, has a plan for you. You are so loved. Like no matter what's gonna happen, it's gonna
be okay.
It's gonna be okay, and whatever happens is gonna help you grow. So like when I look at things in the past that didn't go well for me, but I learned a lesson.
You learned so much.
You learn so much. You learn about yourself. You learn about like so many things that's going to help you in the future.
Yeah.
So I have to tell myself like that no matter what's going to happen, like I'm cared for, I'm safe. I literally saw this TikTok and it was saying like, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling worried, like repeat after me, like I am safe, the universe has me, you are loved, like all these things, and I just repeat it and I'm like, okay, I'm good. And so for me, it's just like a ton of pep talks, which I know like not everyone is like great at giving pep talks, but that's what works for me. Just like switching your mindset almost for a moment.
I've been trying to do more of, instead of like, why is this happening to me?
Right.
Why is this happening for me?
Yes.
It's like a lot of what I've been like trying to like, that's been like my pep talk to myself. Because like I have been through a lot of things where I've hit that point of like the lowest low and being like, why did this happen to me? Like, why did I deserve this? But I'm like trying to come to myself of like, look how much you've done since then, like how much you've grown, like what you've started, like, you know, all these things. So like, why is this happening for me? Not like, why is this happening to me? It's like that like fixed minus growth mindset, like that whole thing. So I feel like that's been, but I like your pep talks. I feel like I should start doing more pep talks.
I give myself pep talks a lot. One of the things that will make me laugh, so I don't like roller coasters, but if you ever find me on a roller coaster, I will give myself pep talks. I will scream. I'll literally be like, you're okay, you're fine, you're not gonna die, it's okay. Like I'll say that out loud. And my friends, they always laugh, which I think is like fun because we like to make people laugh, right? So, but it's like something I do. I just give myself a ton of pep talks, which might be crazy. But also what you were saying, what's for you.
Yeah.
I think that's so smart because my ex was always like, this happened to me, he had so many bad things happen to him that it like brought him down. Like he was just like, the world hates me, And I think when you say, why did this happen for me? It puts you in a different mindset. You know, you're like, the universe gave me this situation for me to grow. Yeah. And then I don't think it like brings you down, it lifts you up.
And it makes you reframe it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is like a new thing I've been working on. Like I haven't probably been working on it for like 2 weeks now. But I can like feel a difference because I feel like before when I was saying like, why is this happening to me? Like I would just go down the rabbit hole of like the basket full of like bad things that like are not common, that have only happened to me. Right. And makes me feel more isolated. Right. Where when I'm like, okay, why is this happening for me? What has this brought me? What friends have I made? What jobs have I experienced? What things have I done? What like, I don't know, crafts or, you know, my channel that I've started, like what has come out of this that brings me joy, that has brought me on this journey. So then I do feel like a lot better. Right. And, like it makes me like trust everything more. Right.
Yes, and it just like, it heightens your vibrations, and then you just like feel really good about yourself because, you know, we can look at our past issues and our past traumas and our past whatever, it can really weigh us down. And we can say, woe is me, life is hard. And, you know, like, I feel like we all have days that we do that. Like, I've done that. I'm like, why is this happening to me? I'm sad. But, like, if we do have that mindset, like, this is happening for me, or you give yourself a pep talk, it just is changing the mindset. And it really can just change your outlook on life. And you're like, look at all these crazy experiences that I've had. There's actually one song that I love. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's like, how does it go? It's like 100 bad days mean 100 good stories. 100 good stories makes me interesting at parties. And I was like,
wait, that's so
oh my gosh. Because like, you know, I'll go to a party and I'll be like, oh, so this happened to me. And people are like, no way. And I'm like, yes way. Like, I'll talk about like my time in Shanghai and I'm like, that time was wild and it was really stressful, but like now it's an awesome story and people find it fascinating. And
yeah,
you know,
I mean, that's so true though. I feel like all of our weird things that have happened to us are like, you know, I've used my like abusive relationship in college to like bring someone up the other day. Like she was like, woe is me, whatever. And I was like, oh, like, you know, has this ever happened to you? And I kind of just like summarized it in a clump. And she was like, no. And I was like, well, then I think you're doing great. Right. And she just kind of looked at me and she's like, did that happen to you? And I said, yep, but I'm still here. So. Right. And she was just like, oh, okay. Like, and you could see like the shift in her mind. She was like, oh, I guess like I am pretty lucky. This is the worst thing that's happened.
Right. Exactly. So like,
well.
Yeah. And I always think it's good when you can like relate your story to someone else too. Because then like, you know, like you said, feeling isolated is the worst feeling when you're like, I feel alone and sad, but like most people have felt heartbreak, like sadness, especially with 2020, there's a lot of job loss, like people that feel alone, like you don't have to feel alone. And
well, that's what
sometimes-
I always say is like anxiety, depression, and like those types of things is what actually brings us closer.
Yes.
Like I feel like
for
being
sure.
happy or like being in entertainment or being whatever your job title is doesn't make you close at all. But if you were to
No.
meet someone at work who's like, I suffer really bad from anxiety, and you're like, me too, and then you can like talk about it.
Right. Or you're like, what's your therapist's name? You're
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
I can share numbers.
Right.
Like, what was her advice this week?
yeah. And so like, it's really cool. I think it's good that we're talking about topics that a lot of people don't talk about. And
Because they're more common, I think, than people
Yeah.
acknowledge.
yes,
Like,
you know,
which is like, the sky is blue. Well, everyone knows that. But like, did you know that like the science behind all the like blue skies? Like, you know, it's like we gotta dig deeper because it's obviously there, but like we're not talking about it.
right. And I'm so happy that over the past years, like people are talking about mental health. Like when I was little, I thought mental health was like, I knew about like depression and anxiety, but I just thought it was like when people had like a chemical imbalance or something. Like I was little, I didn't know anything. So
I thought it was like you were literally crazy.
right.
Like psychopaths.
Because no one talked about it.
Serial killers.
Right.
That's like, I was like, oh, they have mental problems.
Right, and now that everyone is like finally talking about it and how important it is to take care of it, like everyone has mental health. Like we all are like, I feel like everyone this year has dealt with like maybe a little bit of depression or anxiety. Like it's been stressful. There's some days I feel so anxious. And it's not usually normal for me, but because 2020 is wild,
good stories later.
you know, yes, they're gonna be great stories. I literally can't wait till when I have grandkids, I'll be like, let me tell you about the year 2020. But because like now people are so open to it, and you know, like it's just helpful for so many people. Like people now don't think they're crazy. They can go get the help they need, or if you talk to your friend about, even just talking to a friend about your mental health, like it's so healing, you know, and it's so important.
And usually, I feel like your friends relate more than you are expecting them to.
Yes.
Because I remember when I first started to talk about anxiety, like I was like, everyone's gonna think I'm weird, and they're gonna think like all these things, because I get like overwhelmed anxiety where I like shut down. Like I can give myself 104 fever, I can pass out, like I get it like really bad.
Right.
And like I remember like telling someone for the first time, and they were like, oh my god, like I get really shaky, and like I totally understand, and I was like, you do?
You're like, you were
friend?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
okay, like,
and those moments are so special.
Yes.
You're like, I'm not alone. My friend is here. Like you can talk about it, and then you can almost like help yourself. You help each other get through things. You know, like then you can confide.
Confide.
That's the word. Confide in that friend and be like, hi, I'm like feeling really anxious or nervous right now. Like, can you like help me talk
like what
it
do
through?
or what do you do? Like
right, and because I think it's, you know, there's so many things. Like I remember when I was feeling super anxious when I lived overseas. Like my friend gave me all these things. Is there a blooper reel?
No, but we can add.
Oh. She said this
Wendy's
is
gonna join us in our outro.
Yes, everyone, this is Wendy.
This is Wendy. But thank you all for joining us today. And remember, it's nice to be nice, and everyone's fighting their own battle. So just, you know, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.
Bye.